The Laramy County Sheriff releases body cam video of last year's fatal Halloween shootout. U.S. Representative Harriet Hagman introduces a bill to block the controversial BLM plan for the Rock Springs area. And the University of Wyoming settles with the evangelist who called out a trans sorority member. We'll take a look at these stories and more today from Wyoming's largest news organization. I'm Wendy Kaur for Cowboy State Daily. This week, Laramy County Sheriff Brian Kozak authorized the release of a narrated account of a deputy's deadly shootout with a defiant suspect last Halloween. Crime and Courts reporter Claire McFarland says Kozak's decision was based on his belief that the public should be able to see body cam videos of officer-involved shootings.
Wyoming law says that agencies shall not release their body cam footage, but they may if there's a confirmed public interest, if there's serious bodily injury, or if there's a deadly force incident involved. And so it's up to that agency. And Brian Kozak, the sheriff of Laramy County, actually helped to craft that law, making it so that agencies can release the body cam footage of deadly force incidents.
The Thermopolis Police Department made headlines this month when a Thermopolis sergeant shot and killed a man in self-defense, but had entered the man's home illegally and without a warrant. But Kozak said the Thermopolis case isn't the reason he's releasing the body cam footage. He said it's important for the public to know what deputies face, the training they employ, and their efforts to protect the rights of the public. Well, claiming that the Bureau of Land Management's controversial draft Rock Springs Resource Management Plan is part of a war on the West, Wyoming Republican U.S. Representative Harriet Hagman has introduced a bill to block it. Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines reports that Hagman said the RMP threatens Wyoming's recreation and energy industries.
She's introduced a bill, basically an attempt to block the implementation of the RMP in its present form and kind of force the BLM to go back to the drawing board completely. In other words, basically start from scratch.
Hagman called the BLM's preferred alternative, quote, the greatest of evils, end quote, saying that the plan promises to impose the most severe injury possible to Wyoming, placing massive restrictions around what Wyomingites can and cannot do on millions of acres of public land. During testimony before the Public Services Commission on Wednesday, an attorney for Rocky Mountain Power said a nearly 30% rate increase the company is proposing is mostly in response to increased energy costs. Much of the hearing then centered around whether a carbon tax that's been placed on a power plant in Washington is being unfairly shouldered by people in Wyoming. Cowboy State Daily's Leah Wolfson reports that the Joint Corporations, Elections, and Political Subdivisions Committee advanced legislation Friday that would address just that scenario.
It prevents public service utility companies who have some of these interstate agreements from putting rate increases from other states onto Wyoming residents.
Rocky Mountain Power's position is that the carbon tax is an operational cost on a generation source used by all 6 of the states served by PacifiCorp, which includes the Rocky Mountain Power Operating Division. I'll be back with more news right after this.
At Hilltop Bank, we understand that buying a home is a big decision. That's why we're here to be your trusted partner on the path to home ownership. Our experienced mortgage team will guide you every step of the way, from pre-approval to closing. We offer competitive rates and a wide variety of home loan options to best suit your needs. With our local knowledge and personalized service, you'll feel confident and comfortable throughout the entire home buying process. Contact us today to start your journey toward home ownership. Hilltop Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The University of Wyoming has settled with the Laramy evangelist who sued it for censoring his speech about a transgender sorority member. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland, who's followed this story from its beginnings, said UW will pay $35,000 for Todd Schmidt's legal fees. Additionally, the institution will be blocked permanently from censoring or banning Schmidt over his views on Artemis Langford's sexual identity.
They could discipline him for misconduct, like not leaving students alone if a student no longer wants to talk to him. But the college has to pay Schmidt's attorney fees of $35,000.
Schmidt had attempted to sue Dean of Students Ryan O'Neill as an individual as well as in her official capacity, but Judge Nancy Friedenthal disallowed that, saying O'Neill may not have reasonably known she was violating his rights as she censored him. Members of the State Joint Corporations Elections and Political Subdivisions Committee approved proposed legislation Thursday that would expand Wyoming's voter intimidation laws to include misdemeanor charges. Political reporter Leo Wolfson points out that currently the only law on the books that deals with voter intimidation is a felony charge, which has dissuaded prosecutors from leveling the charge because the actions don't rise up to a felony level offense.
Voter intimidation could be as simple as saying something rude to someone at a polling location or making some sort of political comment. But, it also can extend to threats, of course, and acts of violence, which is covered under the bill. And just making a threat of violence would be constituted as a misdemeanor on this legislation. So it really expands the opportunity for prosecutors.
Wolfson points out that voter intimidation hasn't been documented very much in Wyoming, but it's become more prevalent in the last couple of years in other states, particularly with regards to the 2020 election. And there's a giant golf ball on a pedestal at the National Weather Service office near the Cheyenne Airport. Well, okay, it's not an actual golf ball. What it is a fiberglass dome that protects the Weather Service's delicate Doppler radar equipment. And Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi says it's getting a high-tech upgrade.
Doppler operates by sending electromagnetic waves into the atmosphere to detect weather patterns like hail and rain and snow as it's coming in. But the latest upgrade at the National Weather Service office in Cheyenne has the latest technology incorporated to ensure that the detection system works now and into the decades in the future. And who knows what weather systems will be available then, but at least we know that the high quality that we've come to expect when it comes to our weather forecasts will still be available now and tomorrow.
With the first winter storm in the season already hitting Wyoming hard this week, using the NWS Cheyenne website and any number of third-party weather apps can keep everyone safe and informed. And that's today's news. If you're ready to unlock your daily dose of Wyoming, sign up for the Cowboy State Daily newsletter to stay in the know. Some of the best local reporting in the Cowboy State will be delivered to your inbox daily. Just sign up at www.cowboystatedaily.com. I'm Wendy Core for Cowboy State Daily.